Hi, this is Dara, and I'm with you for another non-binary update, specifically talking some more about a surgery that I have scheduled for later this year. For those of you who need some background, it is a reduction mammoplasty, which means getting these smaller. This is going to be both for medical reasons and also definitely for reducing my physical gender dysphoria that I have had when I look back on it ever since I was a teenager. And so here's my thoughts for today having to do with the surgery. First of all, fingers crossed that everything goes well with insurance. The situation is that I was approved by my insurance to get the surgery, but as it turns out, my current plan is going to go way up in price, the premium every month, and so my healthcare agent, she suggested I switch to a different plan that's going to cost not a whole lot more per month, but it's actually a lot better plan. I'm going to have a $0 deductible instead of a $2,000 deductible, which in this case, for instance, means instead of me having to pay $2,000 towards this surgery, I would pay $0 towards the surgery. At least that's what I am pretty sure that means. However, it means I have to go through the approval process again. We are pretty sure that'll be okay, and the surgeon's office said they think it'll be fine, but you never know. So what I'm going to do is act as if everything's fine and is going to go according to plan for my surgery, which is going to be the third week of November. So what I want to talk about today is what I'm going to be doing to better prepare myself for surgery. And maybe this can be of help to some of you who have surgeries lying ahead for you in the future. I tend to be somebody who, I plan a lot when it comes to these sort of things, and that might not be the kind of person you are, but this is what I like to do when it comes to something such as surgery, when it comes to preparing myself physically, emotionally, and mentally for it. So before I begin to talk about that, some of the things that I am talking about, I kind of was thinking about it and I realized that there might be certain things I'm able to do that I may be able to afford that not everybody is able to. So I wanted to make sure that I note ahead of time that as I talk about that, I'm aware of my privilege in certain respects. And so I'm going to try to come up with other ways that you can be able to maybe achieve some of these goals without having to maybe spend any money or spend as little money as possible. So let me just go ahead and jump into my first thing. I have, looks like 3 things that I want to talk about. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is anxiety. So I do have anxiety. I don't have a diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder, but I do have anxiety. I do. And I've had it my whole life. And so I've gotten better as I get older at managing it, but I do know that the thought of going into a surgery certainly does provoke anxiety inside of me. And I had done some research, and it says that when you go into a surgery, it's best that you don't have anxiety, because that's going to kind of be with you during surgery, and it's going to be there when you come out, because general anesthesia kind of acts like a pause button, like whatever state you're in when you go in, you're going to be in that state when you come out. And I want to be able to have the best recovery as possible afterwards, and also not feel freaked out going into surgery. So a couple of things I was thinking about for myself that I want to do is I'm going to meditate. Now, I have been meditating on and off for many years. I've just gotten back into meditating on a daily basis, or most days I'm able to do it. And I use an app on my phone that's free, and it's called Insight Timer is what it's called. And so I have been doing like an 8-minute meditation in the morning, and I decided that I'm going to increase that little by little so that by the time the surgery arrives, maybe, I don't know, I think I'm going to try for 15 minutes. Right now I actually increased up to an meditation that's about 11.5 minutes. So after I fit that into my day, I'm going to try to do one a little bit longer, and then by the time I have surgery, I'll do a 15-minute meditation each morning. It'll just be helpful for me to do that in general, but I'm using the motivation of the surgery to do that. And also, I noticed that online there's different YouTube videos and things like that that you can listen to specifically to help you with getting ready for surgery, like some different visualization exercises you can do. So as I get closer to surgery, I'm going to start looking at that, and probably maybe the 4 weeks leading up to it, I'm going to find a video to watch leading up to that. The next area that I want to work on is exercise. So currently, kind of like the same with meditation, I do exercise, and I do, for the most part, on average, Zumba once a week, and then the 3 other days during the week, well, 2 to 3 days a week, I do that elliptical machine where you go like this and move your legs. And so that's what I've been doing, and I decided that I need to take it up a notch, and I'm going to, well, I have actually this week. I started doing a little bit of running, and again, it's a free app. There's a lot of free apps out there that can help with this kind of stuff, where you can have this like coach that you're listening to, and they tell you like when to walk and when to run. I haven't run in a while, so I need to ease back into it. So it's alternating between running and walking. And so that's something I'm going to do instead of the elliptical machine 3 days a week. And my wife and I have been wanting to get a treadmill at the house for a long time. So we're going to start looking like on Craigslist and try to find maybe a used treadmill that we can get in the house. I especially want to have it by the time it starts getting cold, which in Colorado can happen as soon as October. And so, because I do want to also, maybe I could do some running outside up until then. I want to make sure I have a treadmill at home after surgery, so that as soon as possible I can at least start walking on it, so that I don't get too sluggish and sedentary after the surgery. The third area and last area I'll talk about is diet and nutrition. So I do currently have I guess I would say I have a pretty restricted diet. I cut out gluten in 2012, and I also don't eat soy because it's bad for me. It has to do with, it messes with my hormones too much, and it makes my estrogen increase when I should not be having that. And I don't eat dairy because it's bad for me during the summer for allergies. I used to, like, if this was in the past, right now I'd be trying to talk to you and my eyes would be puffy and I'd be sneezing and just miserable. But because last year I cut dairy out of my diet for the most part, I feel much better. So, but anyway, I do have a pretty restricted diet. I do eat out fairly often because I live an hour away from where I work. And also my daughter, she goes to school and lives an hour away from where I live. So I'm gone from the house a lot. I do bring my lunch to work and things like that, but I also do end up eating out. I do try to eat well when I eat out, but you know, it's still gonna add up. So just in general, I'm just gonna try to pay attention, especially when I eat out, to trying to eat things that are not as high in carbs, maybe instead of potatoes and chips or french fries, because I can still eat that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll instead add extra vegetables or something like that. So, but when it comes to my diet, the thing I really need to work on is my caffeine intake. I mean, I do love coffee, and it's something I sort of am known for, but, you know, there's a certain amount that's a bit extreme, and I would say I had probably reached that amount up until recently of drinking too much coffee during the day. So this past week, actually since last week, I've been cutting back, and I've noticed that if I have a cup of coffee in the morning, that if I drink things like black tea during the day or yerba mate, there's different sorts of coffee-like drinks that don't have as much caffeine. Like there's this kind of coffee that I had today. It's like a mushroom coffee from Sigmata. Anyway, so far I've only had coffee once today, and I think I'm going to be okay the rest of the day. That's my goal, is that by the time I have surgery, that I'm at only 1 serving of caffeine a day on average, and that leading up to the surgery, maybe even let me think. I don't know how many days. Maybe 3 or 4 days before surgery, I won't have any caffeine, because I want to be able to be clean of that when I go into surgery. And that way also when I come out of surgery, I don't want to have caffeine withdrawal. So that's actually going to be a pretty big challenge for me, but so far the way the last few days have gone, it's been going pretty good, so I'm feeling encouraged. So that's the summary of what I'm going to be doing to better prepare myself for surgery, and I appreciate you staying with me on this journey as I get closer to doing that. I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are below, and be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can keep seeing more updates like this as well as the other material that I produce. So I'll catch you later. Thanks.